So the next topic we have is Python packages for interest. In that, the first one is JSON. JSON is called as JavaScript Object Notation. So basically this JSON is used for exchanging the data or sending the data between the server and the web application. For example, I can give you a simple example. Facebook is a particular, you can say, web application, right? And what is the server? Server is the main or maybe a mirror image of that particular Facebook server, right? So exchange of the information between the web application and the server is called as JSON. So the backend coding which is running behind is called as JSON. So why do we use JSON is when you don't want to use XML, or maybe when there are limitations of using XML, then you can use JSON as an alternative for XML. Okay, so basically JSON is written in text format, okay, and it is basically a JavaScript format only. So you use only JavaScript over there, but along with objects. So that is the reason it is called as JavaScript object notation. So the next one we have is XML. XML is called as Extensible Markup Language, and it is a language similar to HTML. Once you know HTML, you will clearly understand XML also, whereas there are some limitations for HTML, that is maybe security wise or maybe programming wise. So that is the reason XML is an advanced version which is created, and then XML is designed to store and transport the data. That means you can store the data as well as you can transfer the data. And then, yeah, XML is case sensitive, and there are multiple things you have to keep in mind when you're using XML. Okay, and the next one you have is HTTP library. So in Python packages of interest or in Python standard libraries, you have these three packages which are there, that is HTTP library, URL library and SMTP library. So HTTP library is available if the socket module is compiled with SSL support. That means HTTP module or HTTP library will only run when the module is compiled with SSL. What is SSL? Secure socket layer. That means in order to have a very good or a very secure connection, you're going to use HTTP library function. Okay, and the next one you have is URL library. URL library package will help you to connect or collect to several modules working with URLs. For examples, in URL library you can have URL library.request that will help you to request or to fetch a new web page. If you give facebook.com in Google search, what will happen? It will try to fetch that particular Facebook page for you, right? So here URL request is something like that. That means you're requesting some file and then you will surely get that file. And then you have the next one is URL library.error. That is used when there are some errors which are present. That means maybe you're searching for a page which is not found. Then what error you will get in Google? Page not found, right? So in the same way, that is known as URL library.error. And the next one you have is URL library.roboparser or parser. So roboparser or parser are used for parsing. What is parsing is? Parsing